black people could come in? You aren't black. You can't come in.
What kind of requirement is this? We can't change our skin color.
In virtual worlds, it can be done. In reality, it's not so easy.
In reality, discrimination is the other way around. Many clubs don't accept black people.
Perhaps you'll be luckier at the next club. Only women over the age of 35 can enter.
What luck? I'm already 36. See you. You stay behind.
I'm not planning a sex change operation. Don't leave me alone.
You know what? In studies, they talk about primary groups that we're born into, like religion, gender, skin color, ethnicity, and age.
Like what happened to us just now?
Right, let's try some more doors. Did you know I'm an environmental activist?
It's important to me too.
So let's try the 5th door.
All those who care about the environment are welcome. Great, we were accepted.
If there are primary groups, what are secondary groups?
A secondary group, like a professional organization, a sports club, or a political party, is one we weren't born into, and we can join if we want to.
Listen to them. They're so uncultured.
What does that mean? Why do you say they have no culture?
Listen to the music they're playing.
The music you like is culture? Who decides? Do you know that culture can't be high or low? Every group has its own culture.
So what is culture?
Culture is your native language, educational views, norms, ways of teaching, family patterns, leisure patterns, values, and the shared goals of a particular group. These are the core values of culture.
Wow. Generally, when I think about culture, I think about food, festivals, flags, clothes, and people's faces.
Yes, these are the more peripheral aspects that generally catch our attention. In many cases, we are contented just to notice them. It leads us to judge people on first impressions and superficial acquaintance only. How would you define your culture?
Interesting question. I'll think about it.
What is your culture? Mention both core and peripheral aspects.
Our culture is really multicultural. See how many cultures there are here.
Multiculturalism is a value. Just because there are many cultures doesn't mean that the approach is multicultural.
What do you mean? Look, on campus, there's a class only for Africans.
It really isn't a multicultural approach if separation is the starting point. It's called segregation. That isn't how to build a multicultural society.
You know what? Perhaps you're right, but I have a better example. See how Latino students on this campus in the US speak only English. They've really joined us.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this is not a fair or egalitarian approach. It's hierarchical. We call it assimilation. There's a dominant culture, and everyone has to fit in with it.
Meaning?
In many places, it is Western culture that is dominant. Language, art, music, academic knowledge.
Right, my parents changed their family name so it would sound more local, and they still regret it.
An excellent example.
My father's ashamed to speak his mother tongue and often just stays silent.
Assimilation is definitely not a multicultural approach.
Do you know stories from your parents or grandparents about assimilation or cases where they were forced to blur their culture?
I'm more optimistic than you. Look at how we celebrate festivals on campus. We recognize and respect the holidays of students from different cultures. Remember how we wished all the Muslim students a Ramadan Kareem, an easy fast?
Do you remember the difference between core and peripheral aspects of a culture? Festivals are generally no more than folklore if one does not also connect to the norms, values, and family customs. This is residual multiculturalism.
Why you're so demanding? You have such high standards. When we first came here, I did talk my mother tongue, and they gave me at least 2 years. Only after that did they expect me to speak like everyone else.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that is still a hierarchical approach. They call it transitory pluralism. It still aims for everyone to adopt the main culture with recognition of difference for a limited time.
How comfortable do you feel with the core components of your culture at the college? Talk about it.
So what is a multicultural approach? See how every group here keeps to itself.
Multiculturalism is when every culture and ethnic group in the state has equal rights and opportunities. No group is ignored or taken to be less important. One model talks about federative pluralism.
What's that?
It means relating to groups as different and equal, not in a hierarchy, and each group can develop their unique cultures, but the various groups are side by side, uninvolved with one another, having no influence on each other, like in a mosaic or a vegetable salad.
Is that what goes on at college?
We already spoke about this. It depends on the approach of the college, whether it is egalitarian or hierarchical.
Are there any other multicultural approaches?
Yes, there's one more. Interactive multiculturalism, the melting pot. Here, too, each group is supposed to develop its unique culture. But there's hope that the different groups and cultures will relate and mutually influence one another, like in a stew or a melting pot. In this model, complex cultural identities are seen as good.
Here are two situations. Which approaches do they fit? One school has students from different groups. At festival times, the teacher asks every student to talk about their family's customs, food, songs, family values, native language, and how the festival is marked in their parents' countries of origin. One school has students from different groups. Once a year, the teacher organizes an ethnic food evening. Every student brings a dish they eat at home.
Sounds like a lot of work. It really isn't simple. But why does it matter anyway?
Remember what you were thinking at the beginning? You called African music uncultured?
Yeah, what stereotypes I carry. And they laughed at me too because of my accent when we had just arrived.
In a society of plural cultures, a multicultural approach is very important so that we have a solid society with good intergroup relations.
What do you think? Which approach is applied in your country? Multiculturalism as a value or as a fact? Explain and give examples.
So what is a multicultural approach in education? How is it done?
According to Banks, a well-known researcher of multicultural education, there's a need for a change of structure and values involving the curriculum, learning materials, styles of teaching and learning, outlook and behavior of teachers and principals, aims, norms, and school culture.
How, in your opinion, must teachers adapt their schools to multiculturalism? Now you are asked to enter Unit 2 on the island and talk with your colleagues. Make suggestions for how you would change one of the following. 1. The curriculum. 2. Learning materials. 3. Styles of teaching and learning. 4. Outlook and behavior of teachers and principals. 5. Aims, norms, and school culture, so as to embody a multicultural approach.